Hi, everyone. Thank
Hi.
you for joining.
Hey, Melissa. Hey.
Hello. We still have a couple of people joining. We'll just give folks another minute. Thank you for being here. And just a reminder,
Ryan.
we are recording the call. So for those who couldn't join us tonight, we will share recording and the materials after this. So just wanted to make everyone aware. Just give it one more minute.
I have a really important question. Ryan, you're not wearing a baseball hat. Come on.
Guards start later tonight.
Oh, okay.
All right. All right. It's the participant list has slowed down, so I think we can go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. Thank you again for joining. My name is Melissa Feldman. I'm leading the State Captain Committee this year for Federal Advocacy Day 2025. So great to see you all and to be here with you. We can go to the next slide, Michelle. All right. So for our agenda tonight, this is our state captain training webinar, and we are going to have a refresher training for our newer captains later this month. So more to come, but we do have a packed agenda. We're going to run through the state captain roles and responsibilities, how to organize your groups and what to expect on Advocacy Day. We'll talk about the materials and resources that are available to help you as you lead up to Advocacy Day and prepare your delegation. We also have a couple of folks here from our volunteer committees. We have Andrea from our scorecard committee. She's going to take you through some of the resources that will be available to support you on Advocacy Day and as well as the rest of your delegation, so you can build familiarity with the members of Congress and their support for family building legislation. And we also have Cassie and Jackie here from the Post Advocacy Day Follow Through Committee, talking about ways that we want to encourage our advocates to stay involved following Advocacy Day and building relationships with staffers and members of Congress to continue to share information and resources. And then we'll close with some FAQs and an opportunity for Q&A. We can go to the next slide. Before we dive in, I just wanted to take a moment to thank our sponsors who are all listed here. They're very integral to the success of Advocacy Day and everything that it takes, all the resources to make this day a success. So we just wanted to acknowledge them before we jumped into our slides. And then tonight we are joined by a host of folks from Resolve and the volunteer committees. So here's a snapshot of some of the folks that you see on screen here. Thank you all for all of the support that you provide, months of preparation and meetings and coordination go into making Advocacy Day a success. So thank you all. And we have the rest of the state captain committee here today, who you'll be very familiar with their names because you'll be hearing more from them as we lead up to Advocacy Day. They'll be sharing resources with you and checking in with you often. Did anyone, Ebeth or Julie, did you want to jump in?
I would just like to say hi and welcome to everybody. And thank you, Melissa, for leading us through this. I already got to see the slide deck, and I think it's fantastic what you've put together. And just know we're all here. Julie and I are here to help and support in any way to everybody. And we're really, really excited for this Advocacy Day.
Yeah, I just
Thank
want to
you.
take a moment just to, say hello and welcome. We can't, make Advocacy Day successful without the work from our state captains, because you guys are the ones that are working directly with the advocates. And so, Ebeth and I and the rest of the volunteer committee can't thank you enough for stepping up to this role.
We're also
Excellent.
very
Thank you.
lucky. For those, you two won't say it, you won't brag on yourselves, but the rest of us are hella lucky that you two are the head of the volunteer committee, because between the two of you, you're just like a formidable force. So
Oh, thank you.
don't forget that part.
Excellent. All right, let's jump in. So again, we cannot say it enough, but your leadership is such a vital part of making Advocacy Day meaningful and organized and impactful for all of our advocates. So thank you for the time that you dedicate to this role. I know many of you are repeat captains, but we do have several folks who are new to the role for this year. So we're going to go through what to expect for the day, just a quick overview. So we're all starting from the same foundation, and then we'll get more into, the materials that we have available. So, a quick overview of what you and your advocates can expect on Advocacy Day. So again, it takes place on May 20th this year. Generally, each registrant will have 3 meetings scheduled for them. So there's 2 with your, relevant U.S. senators for your state, and 1 with a U.S. House of Representatives member. And this can vary depending on the state that you're in. I'm in New Jersey. I typically have more calls with representatives just because we, have a lot of them, and that's just the way our delegation typically is structured. So advocates, it's important to note that advocates will be paired with others from their state or region. So no one will be attending meetings alone. Depending on the size of your group, some of your house meetings might be split up into smaller teams or combined into one larger meeting. So don't worry if the groupings don't look exactly even. We work with Advocacy Associates, which kind of organizes the day for us and places everyone into cohorts for each meeting. They help organize these, and you'll receive that information as we get closer to the day. We'll go to the next slide. So this map that you're seeing here is how we're organizing our state captain committee coordinators. So while I lead the committee, we have a team of folks listed here, color-coded. We cover different regions of the US. So they're your go-to person to provide more just-in-time support. So you've already heard from these folks, and you may note that we had to do some reshuffling. So if you see a different name or a TBD name assigned to your state, just know that you'll be hearing from someone soon just to take the reins there. This is the person who you'll go to with any questions that you have. They'll be sharing your delegation registration list with you, tips and resources leading up to Advocacy Day. If there's anyone in your delegation who either, can no longer attend Advocacy Day or they're not responding, this is the person who you'll reach out to as a first point of contact. And if you have any questions, obviously you of course can reach out to advocacy@resolve.org, but we encourage you to use your regional coordinator as your first contact, and then they'll be sure to either loop me in or get you the information you need from Resolve, no matter what it is. So you'll be working closely with the folks here. And we'll share these materials again after the meeting so you have it for reference, but you should have all received at least 1 email from your regional coordinator at this point. Okay, you go to the next slide. Okay, so let's talk about what you'll be doing in the lead up to Advocacy Day. So between now and April 15th, probably sooner, because we have a really robust list of advocates this year. We're making great progress with folks who are signing up and confirming their participation for Advocacy Day on May 20th. So from your regional coordinator, the folks we just mentioned on the previous slide, you'll receive a list of advocates registered from your state. So once you have that, your first step is to reach out and introduce yourself, welcome them, and start organizing your group. And you don't have to come up with those types of communications from scratch. Note that, we will share templates for you to start from and personalize as you see fit. So we're very much trying to make this as seamless and easy for you to work with your advocates. Like I mentioned earlier, we are targeting to do a refresher state captain training Q&A during the week of April 21st tentatively. So look out for more information. It'll be a great opportunity if you're a newer state captain or a first-time state captain. We encourage you to come to that event. If you've done this many times and you're a multiple year captain, you may likely not need to attend that. So we just wanted to provide another opportunity since we're coming to you early ahead of Advocacy Day. By April 29th, we would love for you to introduce yourself to your advocates and coordinate a time to meet with your state delegation and set up a practice Zoom. So you'll essentially take them through your own training so that they know what to expect on Advocacy Day, how the day is going to be structured, and what that's going to look like for them. Your role is really to guide your group, help new advocates feel comfortable, and use the resources that we're going to provide you to walk everyone through, what it's like to use the script when you meet with members of Congress and what to expect. So the script it will come, as we get closer to Advocacy Day, but it's really just an opportunity for you to gather your delegation and get everyone on the same page and meet each other, go through, your connection to Resolve and the infertility community. So we encourage you to have those Zoom calls by May 6th and make sure that folks are aligned with, what they're going to be doing on Advocacy Day. They have an understanding of what that'll look like for them. Sometime between May 6th and obviously before Advocacy Day, we will you'll receive, your schedule of meetings and your script. For first-time advocates in your state, it's probably going to be helpful for you to, have another meeting with them ahead of Advocacy Day, just so that they have an opportunity to ask questions and get familiar with what their responsibilities are going to be when they're having these meetings. And again, if you run into any issues, like someone in your group not responding, just please let us know as soon as you can. Let your regional coordinator know so that we in turn can update advocacy associates so they can remove them from the schedule, so that we don't have folks assigned to meetings with representatives or senators who are not participating in Advocacy Day. Okay.
Hey, Melissa, can I jump in real quick?
Sure. Yes, please.
Just because for everyone that has been a state captain before, that time frame between May 6th and May 20th, it feels like it's eternity. There is a good chance we'll likely have the script by May 6th, but if we hear about a bill being introduced, there is a chance that the script won't get released till 2 weeks before Advocacy Day. So just know, it's almost like going through infertility treatment again. We hurry, and then we wait. State captains definitely have the hardest job because we're waiting for so long. And then once we get you the information, then it's like, hurry, that there's really nothing that we can do about that. And same with knowing who's been registered and where they're at. We get a lot of that information from advocacy associates, and they are great. They do everything as quickly as they can. But it's almost like you're not going to have your final list until registration closes. So just know, as you guys are doing your training, that you might have to wait almost up to 2 weeks before Advocacy Day to do it, because people could still register. It doesn't mean you can't meet and you can't have these Zoom calls. I think it's great that we have you guys have a practice Zoom call. What you'll find out is, especially for first-time advocates, sharing that story is really a hurdle for people. And the fact that they have to share it in 30 seconds. I mean, how do we share what each of our experiences are in 30 seconds? I struggle, and I've done this for 5 years. But so just make sure, I think it's great for practice, but do know, please don't hold Melissa to this May 6th date, because there's a chance we don't have the script. But it is a great idea, but just know it could be up to 2 weeks before Advocacy Day. And we know that that's incredibly difficult, but it's out of our hands. We just have to get that finalized script, and then we have to wait for registration to close to get our finalized registration list.
Yes, thank you, Ebeth. That was very helpful. Okay, jump to the next. Yep. Okay, so prior to Advocacy Day, so some of this Ebeth just covered, and these are all really good reminders. And I think, for folks who have served as captains before, you know what that sort of 2-week rush is right before Advocacy Day. But for newer captains, and last year I was a first-time captain in New Jersey, so I understand your perspective. I think it's a really solid reminder that pre getting the script from Resolve, it's really about making sure that you're gathering, new names. Your regional coordinator is going to be sharing contact information with folks who are registered in your state. So it's really about making sure you're pulling email addresses from those lists, you're adding them to your email thread. Folks are introducing themselves, you're working with them on their elevator pitches and making those really tight and impactful for when they're introducing themselves during meetings with members of Congress. So, that time before you get the script is great to sort of align on all of those activities and just build a relationship, within your delegation before the sort of rush happens once you get your script and you're assigning speaking parts.
Well, and to whoever's point earlier, I know last year for my delegation, that's just what we focused on, right? Because a script is a script. We can read from a script, right? But it's the people telling your own story gets people very tripped up. So I would encourage everybody to just like say we're deliberately using this 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks or whatever it turns out to be to really hone that elevator pitch, because that's really the key to the whole pie in my mind, is people actually sharing from their hearts and their, what they've gone through.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree that your personal story makes it impactful. So it's sometimes overwhelming to think about where do I even begin. So that's a really important role that you have as a state captain, is helping the people, on your delegation, the advocates, organize their thoughts and work on that elevator pitch. So leading up to Advocacy Day, we will have advocacy associates available to us. That's going to be your one stop for looking at, the schedule of meetings for your delegation. Again, on a rolling basis, if anyone isn't responding or can no longer participate in Advocacy Day, we know things happen. It's just very important that you let your regional coordinator know, or you can email advocacy@resolve.org with a list of any unresponsive advocates so that they could keep their information updated. Also very important, as you're communicating with your regional coordinator, let them know, keep them updated on your outreach with your state delegation. Let them know, I sent my initial email, we had a meet and greet session, or, we're working on our elevator pitches. We have a practice call set for, May 5th or whatever it is. It's going to be really important that we know that these key activities are taking place leading up to Advocacy Day. And if there's anywhere where you need help or you need a steer with how to handle a certain situation, again, we're here for you and any questions that you have. And I see a lot of questions coming through. I know some folks are talking in the chat. If there's any questions that don't get answered, we'll cover them at the end as well. Okay, so on Advocacy Day, a few very important responsibilities for state captains on this day. By 9:15 a.m. your local time, if there's any advocates that haven't checked in with you, so that you need to let us know. You need to immediately email advocacy@resolve.org and let them know so that rosters can be updated on the Advocacy Associates platform. So, there will be more specific directions from your regional coordinators leading up, but we advise you on Advocacy Day to, reach out to your delegation and say, hey, just need you to check in with me, send a quick, text or an email by 9:15 just to know that you're online and ready to go for your meetings. If you don't hear from folks, please let us know. Your job on the day of is to really quarterback the meetings, right? So you'll take attendance first thing, let us know if anyone's missing. You'll help to make sure that your meetings run smoothly and that everyone has a chance to speak if they're comfortable. So remember, you have your script as a guide. Everyone's going to have a speaking part. You'll have already prepared your advocates with very impactful, succinct elevator pitches, so everyone has an opportunity to share their story. After each meeting, please encourage your group to submit their meeting feedback in Advocacy Associates platform. So it's how we track what happened, any key takeaways or questions raised by the staffers that you're meeting with. And it helps Resolve keep the momentum going long after Advocacy Day. We also have a couple of options for morning programming hosted by Resolve. So it's just an opportunity for all of us to come together, get excited about the day, share our thoughts and what we're looking forward to. It's just an opportunity for us to get together as a broad delegation across the United States. You can jump to the next slide. Okay, so organizing your groups. So keep in mind, you'll attend both Senate meetings for your state. Your group might be asked to attend House meetings with advocates from other districts or even other states, and that's normal and expected. It's very much state by state dependent. Like I said earlier, I live in New Jersey, so I always join my district's representative meeting, but last year, I think I joined 3 other representative meetings. So it very much just depends on your state, the number of representatives you have, and how many advocates are in your state as well. So these are just things to keep in mind if advocates ask you why they're assigned to more than one House of Representatives meeting. So it's typically always the district that you're in, and you may be in another meeting as well. You can jump to the next slide. And as you can see here, this is just like to show an example and kind of what I just spoke to. If you're a state captain for a large delegation, you'll have groups of folks go to the House meetings. And again, no one joins a meeting alone. If you have a smaller delegation, all of you may attend all meetings together. So it really just depends on where you're joining from. And again, this is all set up by advocacy associates. So if your folks have questions on that, that's, you know, how those meetings are structured. We can jump to the next slide. Okay, so you're not doing this alone, and we recognize that this is, you know, an investment of your time in making Advocacy Day a success, and we cannot understate how important state captains are to the success of Advocacy Day and the smooth running of all of these meetings that are happening across all of the states in America. So you're not doing this alone. We have you covered with great tools and resources that will provide you support and reference leading up to the day. So after this call, so sometime this week, we will share the recording. We will share these slides. We also have a state captain instructional manual. If you're someone who really just wants to dig in and read through a lot of what we're covering during this call, it's a great resource for you to go back to. Like Ebeth mentioned, you know, there's going to be the script and talking points to come later in May as we get closer to Advocacy Day. We have an advocacy toolkit. We have a leave behind document that you can familiarize with. So these are all resources that are going to be useful to you from now until Advocacy Day and beyond. We also have a scorecard, like I mentioned. We have Andrea here on the call tonight to take us through what the scorecard is and how to use it. So bottom line is we want to make this, we want you to be supported, feel like you have all of the information and context you need to be successful in your role. And if you're going through these resources and you have questions, again, reach out to your coordinators or to me, and we'll talk things through with you, make sure that you have what you need to be successful. So at this time, I think I'm turning it over to Andrea, who's going to take you through the scorecard. It's a great tool that gives background on each member of Congress and where they stand on key legislation. So I'll turn it over to Andrea, and she'll take us through this resource and how you can use it leading up to Advocacy Day.
Thanks, Melissa. That's a great introduction to the scorecard. It's a quick look at how members of Congress have supported the bills and resolutions that Resolve is tracking. We can go to the next slide. It allows us to give some context to the advocacy work that everyone is doing. And so one of the things that we're able to provide as a result of the scorecard are some visualizations of what it looks like. So you can quickly see we've had a lot of participation in Advocacy Day from both Democrats, Republicans, and independents. And there's a few other pictures that we can show, but it's fine to go on to the next one. But it helps to give the advocates just a quick look at what they're coming into. and why the work that they're doing is so important. The scorecard itself is a big spreadsheet. One of the more useful ways to use the scorecard is to filter it by particular information that you want to see. At the top of every column in the scorecard, you'll see a little drop-down arrow for the information that's in that column so that you can filter, for example, if you want to see all of the information for your state, which is Connecticut, you can select Connecticut. Maybe you also used to live in Nebraska, and so you want to see what the senators and representatives from Nebraska are doing as compared to where you are now in Connecticut. So you can select the states that you want to see and be able to get a quick look at a smaller set of data. You can also look back over their history with the scorecard. We go back to the 116th Congress. When you get it, it will be set to look at what's happening right now in the 119th Congress so that you can see what is happening with those who are currently active and being representing you in Congress. You can click again. So that was showing that then you can select apply the filter, and it'll shorten the scorecard so you're looking at just that set of data that you wanted. To clear that and start again, you can either go back into everything you filtered and unselect it, and you can select to filter in more than one column. So you can move across the spreadsheet and say, I want to look at Connecticut, and then I want to see what the Republicans are doing in Connecticut. It will build from left to right. So if you filter first on Connecticut, then your next filter is on Connecticut Republicans, then you would get just the Connecticut Republicans. So it's going to get smaller as you select more filters and go toward the right on the spreadsheet. You can also just go to the data, and then if you click the next one, it should point to the clear button, which is on the left side. So that'll also clear the data and let you start again. That's a lot to look at. And for those who may not love Excel or may not love spreadsheets, we have also created what we call the baseball cards. That's a one-shot quick look at the person you're about to go meet with. It includes their state and their district, their party affiliation, their history of supporting bills and resolutions that matter to resolve, as well as the committees and caucuses that they sit in. So it's useful. The way that I use the scorecard is usually to look at the spreadsheet in advance, a few days in advance, to see what does my state look like? What can I understand about the support that's currently in my state? And then I look at the scorecard, or I look at the baseball card right before I go into my meeting to have a quick refresher so that I know if you click on the next one, you can see that Representative Brownlee has been very active in participating in Advocacy Day over the years. She is a member of various committees and caucuses that are important and help to move these bills forward. And that she's been a sponsor and even an original sponsor, which means she's the person who brought the bill in the first place, to over the years. And so one thing that I might say is thank you for your continued support. Did you know that there are other committees or caucuses or other bills that you might be able to co-sponsor as part of your support to resolve? So there's a few different ways to use it. And I see people in the chat chiming in with other ways. So I welcome other people to share how they use it. The scorecard itself and these baseball cards won't be ready until probably a few days before. I'm going to say 3 to 5 days before actual Advocacy Day. We're waiting so that we can stay as up to date as possible and have the most recent information for advocates to go into their meetings. So we're going to wait until it gets closer. So know that those resources will be available and you can show your delegates what it is and how it can be used in advance. You can use these slides, or you can look at previous scorecards or previous baseball cards as an example, but they will be coming just closer to Advocacy Day. And I welcome anyone else to share ideas of how you use it, and I will learn from you as well.
Thank you, Andrea. Hugely helpful resource for all of the captains and the advocates. Thank you. So I'm going to turn it over now to Cassie and Jackie, who are from our follow-through committee. And so obviously May 20th, very important day. We're meeting with all of the members of Congress and their staffers, but they're here to discuss how we keep advocates engaged after Advocacy Day, because our advocacy doesn't end on May 20th. There's a lot that goes into following up with folks, making sure that they have information that they need to support their members of Congress. So Cassie and Jackie are here to talk about how we are hoping to have your support with your delegations and reinforcing advocacy after May 20th.
Awesome. Thank you, Melissa. Well, that sums it up pretty well. Hi, everybody. My name's Jackie Bishop. And as Melissa just mentioned, Cassie and I are the co-chairs for the follow-through committee. So I'm going to talk real quick about sort of an overview of the committee, and then Cassie will kind of give you our asks and what we're asking your help with. So like Melissa just said, our goal is to ensure advocates stay connected with representatives by following up on questions from Advocacy Day and building lasting relationships to discuss key issues year round. So for those of you who were advocates last year, you probably remember after Advocacy Day getting a survey that said, hey, tell us how your meetings went. Did any advocates have, or did any representatives have questions? Were there any representatives who needed additional information? So all that survey information comes to Cassie and I, and then we deal with it. So with that information, we help to provide key information for the representatives to make, policy decisions and so on and so forth. So first, we're going to really need your help to identify advocates and who are interested in helping us do that work post-Advocacy Day. And we need your help to really get advocates on board to continue their work after the day itself, because that's just the beginning. So Cassie will kind of go into a little bit of detail on what we're asking your help with.
Thank you. I'm just going to add a little bit to what Jackie said. She mostly covered it all, but basically in order for us to achieve our goal, we need advocates who would be willing to help us, the follow through committee, post Advocacy Day. And we would love to be able to identify advocates who are willing to help us with two main tasks. The first one is essentially sending answers to frequently asked questions during Advocacy Day back to staffers, representatives, and senators. And the second one that Melissa and Jackie have both talked about is kind of working on growing this continuing and ongoing communications that Resolve has through advocates with the staffers and representatives. So continuing that post Advocacy Day and throughout the year. And so our specific ask is that we're hoping state captains can find out in their delegations which advocates in their group might be willing and able to help us with these follow-through communications post Advocacy Day.
Just real quick to just sort of put some like a big picture. I think the main goal of Resolve is to really get all advocates doing all the follow-up after Advocacy Day to make sure that that relationship continues to build. But what we're really specifically looking for is, after you have those meetings, there are specific questions that do come up. And so we are hoping to sort of separate the follow-up from the follow-through. So the follow-up everyone should be doing, right? That sort of is Resolve's goal here. But we really need help reaching back out to specific people with answers to their questions. So when you're doing that outreach to your delegations to see if there's anyone interested in helping us with that particular task.
Jackie, there's a question from Kelly in the chat. What is the time commitment and timeline for post Advocacy Day follow through?
Great question. I would say, I don't think it would be that much. Cassie and myself and our committee is going to do a bunch of the legwork in terms of getting all the answers, kind of drafting a response. So really, I'm thinking it would be no more than a few hours of just sort of sending out those emails and answering those questions. Does that sound about right, Cassie?
Yeah, I agree with that. And just kind of maintaining, having a little bit of availability over kind of the summer and fall months to do that. But yeah, I agree with that from an actual time perspective, a few hours likely.
Great. Thank you. Okay, we can jump to the next slide. Okay, So we have gone through a lot of information, and I'm looking forward to opening up the floor for questions in just a moment. So just a few reminders here. Um, Generally, target having your delegation come together on a Zoom meeting by May 6th. Of course, this is flexible based on your schedule. We do just want you to come together with your delegation, have everyone meet each other, share, an overview of the day. And of course, you're going to stay connected with your advocates leading up to May 20th. And again, please keep your regional coordinators up to date with your progress and your outreach with your advocates. It's just important that we know that there's communication ongoing and folks are being engaged and getting prepared for Advocacy Day. You'll find, as we head toward Advocacy Day on May 20th, there's going to be meetups and socials sponsored by Resolve. Encourage your advocates to attend those. Again, we're going to do a refresher training opportunity, which is great for new captains. More to come, looking at the week of April 21st for that. If you have any questions leading up to Advocacy Day, of course, reach out to the email on the slide, or you can reach out to the state captain email, which I think you've all received an email from me at some point over the last few months. There, you can reach out to me or to your regional coordinator with any questions at all. We're here to support you. And of course, if anyone cancels or can no longer participate in Advocacy Day, we know that things come up and folks might drop off. Please let us know ASAP so we can in turn let advocacy associates know immediately so they can adjust rosters for the scheduled meetings. And of course, thank you for your attention. We're going to open it up now for Q&A, but first our next slide has some just common questions that you may encounter. So just to quickly run through these, and I welcome Ebeth and Julie to jump in if you'd like, but as we said, and Ebeth kind of covered this, right, the couple of weeks leading up to Advocacy Day, that's really the rush of, we're getting the script. You have access to advocacy associates and the schedule of your advocates, and who's aligned to which meetings, and you're making sure that folks know, which meeting they're attending, what speaking parts they have in the script. So a question that you may receive, why aren't my meetings confirmed yet? I'm in advocacy associates. I don't see meetings yet. They're scheduled close to May 20th. So hang tight. Be patient. I think folks who have done this for several years know the drill and know what to expect. But speaking as someone who was a new captain last year, I know I kept checking back frequently. Why isn't this confirmed yet? So it's coming. It just it takes a bit. So just be patient. If you have questions or concerns, reach out to your regional coordinator. But just know that you get those closer to May 20th. Again, same response here for receiving the Advocacy Day script. We want to make sure that all relevant content is included in the script. So you'll receive that closer to Advocacy Day. You'll receive it from your regional coordinator. And then what do you do if an advocate lets you know that they can no longer attend? Let your regional coordinator know or reach out to advocacy@resolve.org. If you have tech issues on the day of May 20th, because Advocacy Day is fully virtual, and we know that there's always something that can go wrong will go wrong with Zoom, right? Or with tech in general. But use the Advocacy Associate support line or email us again, advocacyday@resolve, or just advocacy@resolve.org. If a staffer does not show up, we encourage you to wait a few minutes, and then if they don't ultimately attend your call, just note it in the feedback form within Advocacy Associates. Then lastly, another common question, why is my congressional meeting being canceled? Sometimes they're, a staffer or the member of Congress, if they're joining the meeting, they're unable to make it. There may be a last minute conflict. This happened to me with a representative last year. So it's unfortunate, but it does happen. So again, that's just something that, stay tuned in your, stay in your Advocacy Associates platform. You'll see the latest updates to your schedule there. And then just note in the, in the form that, the meeting was canceled or you didn't get to meet with that staffer. But that does happen. And, it's obviously something we try to avoid, but it's very typical. Also, yes, this is a great point Kelly just made in the chat. It's very typical that you meet with the staffer for that, member of Congress. Sometimes you end up meeting with a member of Congress depending on your state and who the person is, but generally it's a staffer that you are meeting with. And so it's the same process. You're going through the script as you've prepared and sharing your elevator speech, and sharing resources directly with them. All right, so before I open it for questions, I do just want to thank you all again for saying yes to this role. We know your time is valuable and your willingness to lead makes a huge difference, not only for just the advocates that are in your state, but to the larger fight for access to family building options. So thank you for your engagement. We appreciate it so much. We're here to support you every step of the way. So don't hesitate to reach out with questions. And we can't wait to see everything that you and all of your advocates accomplish on May 20th. So I'll open it up for questions now. If you want to unmute or add them in the chat, please feel free. Nicole, we'll jump to you first.
Hey there. Last year, I'm from Texas, by the way. Last year, I did a follow-up request post advocacy for the communication between you guys and that representative. And I didn't ever get like a follow-up even from that. Is there such a thing that happens after you guys do contact the representative? And if you do that, I didn't hear anything back after that submission was made through that program.
Beth, Julie, do you? I don't know.
Are you talking about like the follow through, Nicole?
Yeah, I think that's what Nicole's talking about. Follow through.
Yeah. And I know, I'm not sure if Aisha is on. I know she handled a lot of the follow through with the staffers last year. And so that's part of what Jackie and Cassie and the follow through committee are working to change to make sure that communication is going more through the advocates so that you guys can build that relationship so that you know that those questions did get answered. Ebeth, anything to add, or Jackie or Cassie?
No, I think that's correct. I think Nicole, going forward, it'll be like if your representative wants something back, or you're asking for information, the information will be provided to you so you can actually respond with it. There are some like in the meeting notes. I think one of the most underrated roles in Advocacy Day is the note taker. So when you guys are in the meetings, when you guys get the scripts, everyone's kind of assigned their scripts, but then also somebody is a note taker. So inside of Advocacy Day Associates, their platform is wonderful because it tells you your schedule, who you're meeting with, and then there's a way for you to put in notes. And in those notes, you can put like, representative asked for bill language. And those things would be easy for the follow-through committee to immediately send over. But if there's like somebody would like to have more information about resolve or about a bill or things like that, we definitely want to arm the advocate with that information so that they can go back to the staffer. Last year there was, last year the follow through committee, they did well. It was, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I really feel like it was like our second year of really trying to figure it out. It's a really tough committee. It's a lot of work. And so last year we did have some people fall off. And that's why for this year, it would be great for more people to get involved as advocates once we get past Federal Advocacy Day, because it takes a lot to get a bill passed.
I'm going to go back to what I told Jackie and Cassie the other night, and I'm taking it from the Resolve podcast. We reserve the right to get smarter. And so that's what we're trying to do.
Yes. And I did want to piggyback on Melissa. So it says, what if my meeting isn't confirmed yet? There is no harm, absolutely no harm in reaching out to your representative. So if somebody's upset that their representative isn't confirmed, or if they don't even see that they're on the list, you can always email when you go to their website, and you can say, hey, I'm attending Federal Advocacy Day for Resolve. And I see that your office hasn't confirmed. Can you please confirm, or can we get this set up? And then you can get that information over to federal to the advocacy associates. But there's no harm in reaching out and asking them to confirm. And generally, when they know an advocate or a constituent is in the meeting, we won't get the meeting unless there is a constituent. But once they know that their constituent is reaching out, that's how we got David Schweiker 2 years ago from Arizona. Not that you guys all know him, he's a little crazy, but that's how we got David Schweiker, was because one of our people in Arizona reached out to his office, and he decided to join because somebody reached out. So there's no harm in reaching out.
Great point. Yes. Any other questions? I don't see any in the chat, but I wanted to give folks an opportunity. And if you think of questions after, of course, feel free to reach out. Sorry, I just cut someone off.
Oh, it's okay. Are we expecting any differences this year under new administration? Obviously, everyone is, well educated to be nonpartisan and bipartisan on all of these issues, but I didn't know if there was any special preparation in light of new administration.
Can we need to respond to that, but like today, I don't know if everybody heard, but at the CDC, they laid off a bunch of people. And one of the teams that they did lay off in the CDC is everybody that tracks infertility. So the infertility stats, I'm unsure if SART has been impacted, but I believe SART has at this point, because I think anybody that was hired for infertility was let go today. So I think that in the next coming of weeks, especially as the executive order, and Aisha and Michelle, of course, correct me, but I do know that Trump's office has met with 3 different groups to talk about IVF and what that looks like. And so I think in the coming weeks, there'll be more for us, and as we do that script. But you're right, like we do want to be bipartisan. It's all about advocating and telling our stories, and raising awareness, because a lot of people just don't know what it means to have an infertility diagnosis and what we face. But Aisha and Michelle, of course, correct me if I'm wrong on that.
I do know, just a heads up about SART, like the past president, Sangeeta Jindal, was just in DC. So and SART's getting ready to meet in the next few days. So I would imagine you'll hear some comments from the SART board coming out soon related to that, but they're still collecting all their data, and their new data reporting will be coming out actually they usually start finalizing data in April. So just a heads up, SART should still have good data for everybody in the interim.
Okay.
Yeah, Ebeth, that was right. But Elise is also on the call, but I don't know if she's ready to be on camera.
I'm sorry, Elise. I didn't know you were on. I'm so sorry.
Things are really up in the air this
up in
year,
the
so it's a
air.
bit difficult.
That's okay. I was listening. You did a great job. That was exactly what I was thinking you should say. Our signature bill, the HOPE Act, is a bipartisan bill. We're hoping it's bicameral, which means in both the House and the Senate, it will be bipartisan. We're working on getting a Senate Republican sponsor. So that's going to be a great talking point. There's a Republican co-sponsor in the House that's really great on the issue. So I think it's really easy to talk about in a bipartisan and bicameral fashion. That's going to be one of our main signature bills. I definitely we just found out about the CDC and NIH happenings today. So we're still working on what our response is going to be, and if we're going to talk about that during Advocacy Day, but we're still getting the script together. There's lots still up in the air, as Aisha said, but definitely something to consider. Thank you.
I would also like to add that, we want to make sure that we're sticking to like the family building issues. And that, we're not using that A word, because that is a very partisan topic. And so yeah, that just want to throw that out there.
Also, I don't think we did introductions for Elise, but for everyone that doesn't know, Elise is Resolve's new Director of Government Affairs. So she's taking over kind of Betsy's role, but a bit different. So she's still head of our state advocacy, but also our federal advocacy, but also just having those relationships with members of Congress. And so instead of having Barb in certain aspects of Advocacy Day, you'll see Elise being more prominent. So she'll be in our morning session on Advocacy Day, giving, introducing the members of Congress and the co-chairs as they give their 1 to 2 minute speeches. She'll also be the one that's giving that, just the pep talk and just reminding us of everything. And she'll also be working on the actual documents that we use for Advocacy Day, such as our leave behind, our script. But I'm not saying that so anyone emails her directly. Go through the state captain, lead Melissa, and the co-chairs and I, but just letting you know that that's what Elise will be working on.
Thank you for that introduction.
Thank you.
I should have introduced myself.
Thank you. Laquana, go ahead and ask your question.
Hi. I
Hi.
sent a direct message to Ebeth, but I don't think she saw it. When
Oh,
she was mentioning, it's okay. When
I'm
you were
sorry.
mentioning the way to contact our state representatives through their websites, I know that sometimes I've tried before, and because if they're not my immediate representative, it like kicks me out where I cannot
Yeah.
email them. So will there be a list where we can actually like access to directly contact them?
Gotcha. No, I mean, Advocacy Associates, they do reach out directly and they have the contact information. But you're right. You really do have to be a constituent. So you have to have their magical zip code in their area to sometimes to email. That's kind of like a bummer that you have to be even to email. But the thing is that if there is somebody in your group and they are in that, they do live in that area, then they can go ahead and submit it with their address. And then request for them to attend the Federal Advocacy Day. Sorry, there's so many messages. I totally missed it. I'm very sorry.
All right. Any other questions? Okay. I think we covered everything. We covered a lot of ground. Again, we will share this recording with everyone. We'll share these slides. We'll share the instructional manual. All the resources we have right now will be coming your way. Again, a lot of your outreach will be directly from your regional coordinator, and we just had some reshuffling recently. So bear with us. We will get you that information soon. You'll also soon receive your list of registered advocates, so you can start reaching out to them directly. And yeah, I think that's it. We're very excited and grateful for all of you. Thank you so much for all of your support and all of you and all that you do. You are integral to making Advocacy Day a success. Ebeth, Julie, any last words? Aisha, Michelle?
Thank you. That's it. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Actually, let me see. I think we can quickly share our numbers. They're doing pretty well.
Oh, yes, that'd
Yeah,
be
this
great.
year, we have 530 people registered right now. These people are from 47 different states plus DC. As some of you already know, we're shifting away from focusing on the advocacy numbers and looking at congressional districts. And that's just because if we have 600 people registered and 100 are from Virginia and 100 are from California, we're just not reaching members of Congress. So we're focusing on those congressional districts. There's 435 total. Last year we had 269, so we're going to try to beat that number. Our goal is 309 congressional districts, and we're already at 241. So we're already close to the number we had last year, and hopefully we'll get to our actual goal. So that'll be really amazing. And then just a reminder, we'll have the Military and Veterans Happy Hour on April 13th. we'll have 2 or 1 happy hour for just registrants. It's a really great opportunity to just mingle with people from different states. It can be really inspiring to see people who have done Advocacy Day for years, new advocates, and just see how much of a difference that you all being state captains make, because Resolve staff and Melissa, we cannot train all of these hundreds of advocates, and you all are so amazing. You dedicate so much time. I just know how much effort you put into this, and especially on such a time crunch, and it makes a huge difference. Last year we had so many people that said their state captain is a reason why they continued and did Advocacy Day. So please give yourselves a round of applause, because you are genuinely making a huge difference in people's lives and in them feeling empowered to actually speak up and ask for these necessary legislations. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Perfectly said. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for spending some time with us, and we can't wait to work with you all. Have a good rest of your evening and take care. Thank you.
I appreciate you.